Hi, everyone. I hope y'all are having a great spring break. I apologize for my lateness on posting this for you guys. It's kind of been a whirlwind getting things together. I'm sure you guys understand. But hopefully, you have finished part one of Atonement. Okay. And we really got into some great plot, the climax here, a lot of wonderful things happening at the end of part one. So today I'm just going to spend a few minutes going over what you should have read already. So again, in class before spring break, we went over part one, chapters 1 through 7. And I will say that those reading check grades were not that great. So that shows that some of you guys aren't reading. You need to be sure that you're keeping up with this. This is all I'm asking you guys to do, is just enjoy the novel. So please do so. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the rest of part one, which is chapters 8 through 14. And what I'm going to do is, just as if we were in class together, I'm going to go through a quick reading check, what the answers for that would have been, and the answers to the response and analysis, so that you feel good moving forward, finishing up all of part two, which you will be quizzed on when we get back from spring break Monday. Okay. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what we have going on here. So let's see if I can pull up. Excuse me, I need to get all this stuff up. Sorry about this. Okay, so I'm going to pull up these questions. And again, this would have been the reading check had we have had class this week and not spring break. But I'm going to go over the answers so that you're clear. Okay. So a lot goes on in chapter 8, you guys. Robbie, he is decidedly in love with Cecilia. He has discovered that these feelings that he has for her are love, and he wants to express it in a letter. While he's writing at his typewriter, some of his desire overcomes him, and he ends up writing the C word to her, and something really explicit, right? He types on his typewriter, wanting to be with her sexually, and he uses the C word in this quick flutter of emotion. And he immediately is disgusted with himself and takes it off the typewriter, right? And then writes her an actual note, saying, he can't blame this fluttering, this nervousness, this crazy behavior on the heat anymore. And she's got to know how he feels about her. So he folds up the letter and he gives it to Bryony and asks her to give it to Cecilia. The issue is that he gives Bryony the wrong letter. He gives Bryony the draft that has the C word in it, that he meant to throw away. So, of course, you have to guess that Bryony's going to read the letter. I mean, based on what we know about her imaginative spirit, who she is, she's definitely going to read it. Okay. So the mistake that he makes in chapter 8 is that he gives Bryony the wrong letter, the letter with the C word in it. What is Cecilia's reaction when she reads the letter? At first, she's really angry, right? She's like disgusted. But I think that she realizes in that moment that she too is in love with him. That anger that they've had is a lot of sexual tension over the years, and she can't deny her feelings for Robbie in that moment. Number 3, what word is on Robbie's mind, encompassing his emotion as he walks up to the house? The word is freedom. And this is ironic because we find out at the end of part 2, he is no longer free. He's been arrested, which we'll get to in a moment. But he feels free because he has decidedly come to this conclusion that yes, med school is for him. He's going to go to med school. He's going to tell Cecilia how he feels. He feels like this whole future is upon him, and that he truly is free for the first time in his life. How does Cecilia help the twins? Okay, so they're really upset because they can't find their socks. There's only one pair of socks between the two of them. Hermione, their mother, has not packed enough socks. So she goes into Bryony's room and gives him one of the twins a pair of her socks with the strawberries on top. So she helps them get ready for dinner. What does Bryony want to write a story about? Number 5, she wants to write about adults. She feels that after seeing the letter, after being exposed to the C word, her innocence is now gone. She has now seen something in writing that has forever been forbidden. We know that she ends up walking in on Robbie and Cecilia being intimate in the library. And she feels that now she's an adult and she wants to write about adult experiences. She's been crossed into adulthood in this night from what she's witnessed. And that's what she's really focused on and what she wants to truly write about. Number 6, why does Loli come to Bryony's room? She comes to Bryony's room because she wants to tell Bryony about her attack. She claims that it is her twin brothers who have attacked her. She's got like Chinese burns on her forearms, wrists. She's bruised up, and she claims that her brothers have attacked her. What happens in the library? So on her way down to dinner, Bryony sees that Cecilia and Robbie are having sex in the library. And Cecilia, she leads Robbie. She's the one who answers the door, right? When Robbie gets to the door after Cecilia's read the letter, and she leads him into the library. And there they have this really honest confrontation, yes, about how disgusting the C word is and how they can't believe that this has been exposed, but also about how that sexual desire is true and that love there with them is something really powerful that they can't deny anymore. And so it comes to fruition in the library, and Bryony sees them having sex. What is Bryony's crime? Well, she's got a lot of different things that she does here, but overall, the worst thing is that after the twins go missing at dinner, everyone is on their own search party looking for them, and she comes across Lola being attacked, and she basically makes Lola confess that her attacker is Robbie, which, whether we believe it's Robbie or not, that's up to you. But she claims that she sees the attacker when it's not what she sees, it's what she thinks she knows. And she assumes that it's Robbie because of the word, I skipped number 7. This is what's important here. Lola describes Robbie as a maniac. So when Lola comes to Bryony's room to tell about how the twins have attacked her, Lola and Bryony share in that secret. So Bryony tells Lola what she's just, the letter that she's read with the C word. And Lola describes him as a maniac. So this word maniac is in Bryony's mind now. So that's who she assumes is who has attacked Lola. And her crime is that it's a lie. She doesn't know for sure who it is. She couldn't see. Number 10, what happens to Robbie at the end of part 1? He's arrested. He's being put into a cop car. Okay, so that's kind of plot, what you definitely should have gotten on your own, what I would have asked you in your reading check about these chapters 8 through 14. And here's the discussion. I'm going to go over this really briefly, what we need to know in depth about the chapter. So number 1, explore Robbie's relationship to the Tallis family. How are different aspects of this relationship revealed in these chapters? Well, it seems that he's an only child, and his mother and him lived on the Tallis property with their father, and their father was the gardener. And he runs off when Robbie is young and leaves his mother, Grace, alone with Robbie. And so the Tallis family really takes them in, and especially the father, right? The Tallis father, he really takes a liking to Robbie and ends up paying for a lot of his schooling when they realize that Robbie's so bright. So even though he is part of the lower class, he's welcomed into this upper class family as their own, and is able to play with the children and grow up with the children and have the same opportunities. What is happening with the twins in these chapters? So they're really feeling that the height of their abandonment. So we find out that their parents, Hermione is off with another man in Paris, and their parents are getting a divorce and have really abandoned them to the Tallis family. And the boys are preparing to run away. They're plotting this runaway that they're going to do from their problems. And they're really hurting, and they're really kind of being ignored during this time with all these other things going on. So it's important to kind of hone into the twins and really what they're feeling during this. What is Cecilia's response to the letter? Again, we talked about this. She's disgusted by the C word, but also this provocative sexual word really kind of awakens her to her desire for Robbie and her love for him. Number 4, what do we learn about Emily Tallis and her marriage? In chapter 12, we learn that her husband hardly ever comes home, and she knows that he's having an affair, yet she accepts it. And he still, in a way, she feels respects her by calling her every night and keeping up with the facade of their marriage. So we learn a little bit about Emily's childhood, how it's broken. And again, her marriage is broken as well. Her husband is indeed having an affair. Number 5, through what character do we learn more about Emily Tallis and her relationship with her sister Hermione? So Emily feels really resentful towards Lola. And Lola is a lot like her mother, Hermione, careless, wanting attention. We find out that throughout Emily and Hermione's childhood, Hermione was always the one given the attention and always very careless, and Emily always had to pick up the pieces. And she feels resentful for towards Hermione's children, because again, here Hermione is off in Paris doing what she wants to do, and Emily's having to take care of the kids. Number 6, is there any evidence that the twins did not wound Lola as she claims? There's no evidence that the twins have, and there are some remarks saying that the wounds are too big and powerful to have come from children. And it's fishy, right? That the twins would have done this to her. So there's no evidence either way. It's kind of just what Lola says. And you have to have your own opinion on if that's true or not. Spoiler, and not a shocker, it's not the twins who have attacked her. Okay. Number 7, after finishing part 1, why did the author include the shocking word in Robbie's original letter to Cecilia? Okay, so again, the C word is really vulgar. Obviously, it's not a word that's accepted or one that we should ever say. So you might be thinking, why is it that he had to kind of ruin this beautiful book with this atrocious word? But it had to happen. The shock and the grotesqueness of the word had to be read by Bryony, had to be told to Lola. Lola had to use the word maniac, putting that in Bryony's mind, exposing Robbie as this manic monster, for her to be able to kind of turn on him and blame him for Lola's attack. So without the shock of this word, the entire plot wouldn't have come down the way that it did. So really, it was really necessary to have something really shocking, and to turn Bryony in her own mind away from innocence. Number 8, at the very end of chapter 11, Robbie makes a decision that transformed his life. What decision was that, and why was it transforming? He decides when the twins run away and leave the note at dinner and the search party dissolves, he decides to go alone. And that kind of is a mistake, because if he had gone with Cecilia or Leon or anyone else, he would have had an alibi during this time. And we know that he ends up arriving with the twins. He's the one who ends up finding them in the end, but too much has progressed throughout the night, and he's been blamed for too much. Number 9, why does Bryony commit her crime? So again, all of these chapters about Bryony have really led up to this moment of her being able to think what she's seeing is true. She's got this vivid imagination. And in her mind, Robbie is the one who has attacked Lola. In her mind, Robbie is the one that is to blame for all of this. So her crime that she commits, in her mind, she's just exposing the truth. And she thinks that this truth is going to better aid her writing and make it more exciting. So again, there's a lot of complexity to why she does what she does. A lot about childhood innocence being lost, or is it lost? Is she really this adult that she thinks she is? The answer is no, because it's this huge misunderstanding that's occurred here. Um, so hopefully you enjoyed the end of this in a way that's really frustrating. I mean, you should want to throw this book across the room because it's so unjust what's happening to Robbie here. And it's all muddled in the mind of a 13-year-old child, and her not being able to understand sex, to not understand relationships, to understand the true complexity of desire. And so there's a lot of mistakes going on in this. But hopefully that helped cleared up any plot points for you, finishing up part 1. Moving forward for the rest of spring break, you are to read part 2, okay? All of part 2. When we come back on Monday, you will be given a reading check for all of part 2, okay? We'll discuss that and we'll finish up the novel next week, our last week together in class. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Feel free to email me with any questions that you have. Enjoy the rest of your spring break, and I look forward to seeing you guys really soon.